Media influence rarely looks like control. It looks like familiarity. Familiarity creates comfort, and comfort lowers resistance. When something feels familiar, it stops being questioned. Elite families understand this dynamic well. They don't use media to convince. They use it to normalize. Normalization is far more powerful than persuasion. Once an idea feels normal, defending it becomes unnecessary. That's why narrative power doesn't rely on censorship. It relies on selection. Selection of stories. Selection of tone. Selection of emphasis. Every platform has limited space, limited time, limited attention. Deciding what fills that space automatically decides what doesn't. And what doesn't appear slowly disappears from public awareness. This isn't dramatic. It's structural. Media operates through routines, editorial meetings, programming schedules, advertising priorities. Elite families position themselves close to these routines, not to dictate content, but to influence direction. Direction matters more than individual stories. A single headline fades. A repeated angle shapes perception. Another layer of media power comes from repetition. Repetition doesn't feel like control, it feels like confirmation. When an idea appears across platforms, from different voices, in slightly different forms, it begins to feel obvious. Obvious ideas are rarely challenged. They don't trigger skepticism, they trigger agreement. This is how narratives settle. Elite families don't need unanimity, they need consistency. Consistency creates gravity. Ideas orbit what feels stable. Media ownership allows influence over stability, not by dictating opinions, but by reinforcing certain frames again and again. Frames determine boundaries. They define what questions are acceptable, what concerns are reasonable, and what viewpoints feel extreme. Once boundaries are set, debate happens inside them. Anything outside feels irrelevant. That's the quiet power of framing. Another misunderstood aspect of media influence is distance. Direct messaging creates resistance. Indirect influence avoids it. Editorial independence is often preserved formally, while influence operates through incentives, budgets, hiring, distribution, visibility. None of this requires instructions. Systems respond naturally to where resources flow. That's why ownership matters more than content. Content changes daily. Ownership shapes decades. Elite families focus on ownership because ownership outlasts trends. Trends come and go. Narratives remain. Another advantage of media ownership is credibility. Established outlets carry trust. Trust allows messages to pass without friction. Once trust is established, the medium becomes invisible. People stop evaluating the source and focus only on the message. That invisibility is powerful. Influence works best when it doesn't announce itself. This is also why elite families rarely attach their names to visible editorial positions. Visibility creates accountability. Accountability invites pressure. Distance protects flexibility. Flexibility allows adaptation as public sentiment shifts. Narratives evolve slowly, but they do evolve. Elite families anticipate this. They don't lock into rigid positions. They maintain influence across transitions. This allows continuity even during disruption. When political climates change, media framing adjusts. Not abruptly, gradually. Gradual change avoids backlash. Backlash threatens trust. Trust is the foundation of influence. Another reason media ownership matters is amplification. Some voices are amplified. Others are softened. Others never appear. Amplification doesn't require agreement. It requires exposure. Exposure shapes relevance. Relevance determines what society discusses. Elite families understand that influence isn't about being right. It's about being present. Presence shapes memory. Memory shapes belief. Belief shapes behavior. That chain operates quietly. No force. No confrontation. Just repetition over time. This is why narrative power outlasts political cycles. Governments change. Media environments adapt. Those who control the environment retain influence. Those who chase attention lose it quickly. Elite families don't compete for attention. They manage it. They understand that attention is finite and fragile. Managing attention means managing limits. What is highlighted? What is contextualized? What is ignored? Ignoring something doesn't deny its existence. It reduces its relevance. Relevance determines impact. This is the mechanism most people never see. Media influence doesn't tell people what to believe. It